I'll make this quick, and in deference to the time schedule, and also so that you won't need coffee. And I'm not going to ask for money. Send it all to the Amazon. It's really important that that part of the world gets supported. But obviously there's indigenous places everywhere. It's all indigenous, and it all needs help. And there's all kinds of ways that can happen. And in the case of the Ramaytush, it doesn't have to happen through us. It can happen alongside us. It can happen because you want it to happen in your own community. And if you help the homeland in your community, you're helping the people from that place, even if they don't know. Because we don't own the land, it owns us. And so we don't really care, to put it crudely, who does the work. It just needs to happen. Because it's our mother. We don't care who takes care of our mother. We just want our mother to be here. This is a representation of, could be 10,000 years ago, could be 275 years ago. Village site along the coast. And what struck me when I first saw this, it was a collaboration between Amy Mosa, an artist, and my cousin, a culture bearer, Linda Yamani. And if you had the time, I'd let you come up here and look at all the details, because there's lots of detail in here that I didn't even see until the first time I saw it in a big, large format. But what I say is that these people are home. This is home to them. They feel very comfortable there because they're connected to there. That's where they're from. And they're literally made from that place. And there's no discomfort, there's no disconnection here. A little over 250 years ago, we became disconnected. This happened in California, starting with the land colonization in 1769. We had encountered the strangers before then. They came by, did drive-bys. But the actual first land expedition that began colonization was 1769, Porto. And he came up the coast, he came up just south of here, turned around and went back. But that was the beginning, in some ways the beginning of almost the end of Native people in California, and certainly of the Ramaytush people. What's important for people to know is just that, you know, a lot of people don't have a sense of time. And it's certainly not the native sense of time, which can be very fluid and even circular. But most modern people grow up in our education system, they want linear time. So I drew this years ago. This is a little bit nicer version. But we've been here since time immemorial. They like to use that word nowadays. And nowadays, you know, we talk about that little smidgen of time, right? This is our existence here in our homeland, all of this. In European contact, Columbus, we're talking about that guy who got lost at sea, is just this. And it's not to scale, actually, I'm being a little generous. California is just this. And that's what they call history. But this is our history. And because of that, being daily on the land, on that landscape like that, we know this place intimately. But it's not like this now. This is a quick map of the various language groups. Most people don't know these names and areas, but a lot of people don't understand that that's not the way we identify ourselves. That's how others, the colonizers, identified us. They decided to give us these labels defined by language. That's not how we identified ourselves. But we sort of got stuck with that label, and we're still dealing with that to the day. So for instance, let's see if I can get over here. This is a map of the Ohlone language area that covers from San Francisco and across the bay, a little bit north, and then down to the Monterey Bay area. That's the Ohlone language area, and within it there's 7 dialects. Only 3 have any substantial culture. And unfortunately, Ramaytush has some of the least culture that has survived. But what has survived is our knowledge that we are still from this place, that we're of this place, and we still have that responsibility to take care of that place. So these are the various village districts. This is more like what our ancestors lived by, not by Ohlone, which didn't exist until the colonizers came. It actually didn't exist until the 19th century. But these are the village areas, and they're all independent, sovereign, autonomous communities that lived within their homeland, took care of their homeland, but also worked with others around them. So it was a vibrant interconnection of many communities throughout our area, and this is replicated all through California. The reason we find ourselves in the position we do now is because of colonization started in 1769. Within about 100 years, throughout California, through the various waves of colonization, the various varieties, starting with the mission system, Spanish colonization, and then the gold rush that led to statehood. Within that about 100 years, after being here since time immemorial, about 90% of our people were gone. 90%. There's always debate about those numbers, but I think that's conservative. It certainly is true for the Ramaytush people. 95% of our people were probably gone, and the remainder, the survivors, had to leave because of the gold rush. It was so dangerous to be here. Literally, the world came through San Francisco, our homeland, and it went from 2,000 to 200,000 literally in a couple of years. And those people were literally trampling everything and everyone on their way to the gold fields to the east. And that included Native people. And the government supported that by authorizing bounties to hunt and kill our people and take our children and sell them into slavery. So those are the numbers. But that's the part that's most important. We're still here. They didn't succeed. We're still here, and we still remember our sacred obligations given by Creator to do what we're supposed to do, which is take care of the place they gave birth to us. And it doesn't have to be through us. We often get asked, well, I can volunteer for you. Well, actually, we're not a big enough organization to handle volunteers. We need a volunteer to handle volunteers. But actually, it's more important that there's so many organizations, we were talking about at the table, they're not publicized well enough, but there's so many organizations in San Francisco and throughout the peninsula that are doing important work. You know, it's important to do as big and as much as possible, but sometimes doing something in your own neighborhood, your own block, your own backyard is where you start and what needs to happen. If everybody did that, then we'd have a big impact. So I encourage everyone to look at, especially this week in San Francisco, there's over 700 events that started yesterday, will go for next week, regarding climate change, ecological restoration. And I'm going to give a shameless plug to end it up. I don't have it here, but next week, a week from today, at the Exploratorium out in front, for free, you can come and see and talk with some of the finest Northern California culture bearers, basket weavers, and artisans that are going to come to the Exploratorium and demonstrate for you. Starts at 10. We'll see what happens. Sort of like tonight, it's like we're going to do the best we can and see what happens, but I'm sure it's going to be great. Encourage everybody to come, spread the word, and it's for free. You don't have to buy a ticket to get into the Exploratorium at that price. And then there's going to be some panel discussions afterwards, which will also be free. Those culture bearers are going to be talking about the work they do and the effects they see of climate change in their homeland. That's something that's not talked about enough. These are people that are on the ground, hands in the dirt, hands on plants, and they've been seeing these changes for 3/4 of a century. And now it's become literally a climate crisis for them because their plants are changing so radically, they're having difficulties on how to adapt to that change. And so one of the things that ARO, our nonprofit, is doing is collaborating with California Academy of Sciences to start a project. We're calling it Native Gatherers Project, to help the gatherers analyze what's happening in their homelands and see what's happening and see if there's solutions that we can help them with. So thank you very much, and hope to see you next time.